I'm going to give you 3 deceleration plyometric drills that are going to improve your overall athleticism. And I'm even going to tell you how and why I use them in your off-season programming. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris Barner with Overtime Athletes, and for today's video, I want to discuss 3 plyometric drills that I perform with all of my athletes as a foundational, fundamental series to be able to enhance unilateral deceleration. Now, the reason why we want to focus on deceleration first is because this is the precursor to acceleration, right? Eccentric contraction comes before, and it's the foundation of the concentric. You need to learn how to absorb force before you produce force. So it's one of the things that I constantly am stressing in the beginning of off season with my athletes. In addition to that, I want to focus single leg or unilateral. The reason being is because there's a series of benefits. We can really eliminate imbalances between both legs. So if an athlete wants to go cut, they usually tend to have a preference off of what leg they cut. If an athlete wants to go jump, they usually have a preference on which leg they want to jump off of. So I like to balance it out and eliminate those imbalances between both sides. In addition to that, when performing single leg movements, we actually have a greater capability of running through a deeper range of motion, which allows us to then use that dynamic range of motion on the field or court. Let's get into the drills. So number 1 is going to be a sprinter step up. So the athlete is going to place the foot adjacent to the bench, and they're going to line up so that the front leg and the heel is in front of the front toe. From here, what the athlete is going to do is they're going to accelerate vertically, pushing off the bench and exploding up into a jump. Now, the real focus of this isn't how high you can get vertically, but it's how well the athlete can decelerate through that deeper range of motion as they come all the way down. So we're going to perform these continuously, which means one after the other, and I'm going to really focus on the athlete not collapsing, but more decelerating through that range of motion. The reason why I love this drill is because the athlete uses a little bit more hip to be able to decelerate. The next one after this, we actually turn the bench forward where the athlete is facing the bench. They're going to place the same foot like they did on top of the bench. I usually cue the athlete to push off the ball of the foot. They drive that knee forward, and then they're going to explode vertically again, and this time they're actually going to alternate legs. What I love about this variation is by placing the bench in front and pushing the knee slightly over the toe, the athlete actually has to decelerate more through the quad. And then finally, we have the Bulgarian split squat jumps. Now, the athlete is going to place the foot up on the bench. They're going to get into a deep squat. And then from here, what we're going to do is the athlete is going to drive up vertically, punch the knee to the chest, and then catch themselves. But instead of sticking the landing, they're going to decelerate through that whole range of motion. And this gets the hip flexor and the hamstring a little bit more involved. So now you're attacking deceleration of the lower body with 3 different variations, attacking all the muscles. Now, I typically perform these plyometrics anywhere from 2 to 4 sets and no more than 8 repetitions. I usually place these fundamental or foundational exercises either during GPP, which is our general prep, or during our first phase or when we're stressing eccentric. So either of those 3 modalities, but either way, all of this work is done in the beginning of the off season because, like I said, deceleration is the precursor. It comes before actually accelerating, right? We want to be able to teach the athlete to accept and absorb force before we actually start moving over to producing an actual transition of force. So there you have it, guys. Implement those 3 drills into your workouts beginning of off season. I'll catch you guys next time. Remember, I want to see through that full range of motion under control, sink deep for me.